So this is gonna be the last video for this series. I only ended up watching 23 films for the movie challenge of watching 30 films in 30 days, and these are the last two that I have. So getting right into it, I have The Fire Within from 1963. I watched this on the Criterion Channel, I started it right after I finished The Lovers, which is also directed by Malle. I love that one so much, and these two films are The Lovers and The Fire Within are connected in my mind because of the way that the Criterion releases are designed. They have a similar theme to them. And I loved this one at first, but it ended up not being as great as I wanted it to be, I guess. I definitely preferred The Lovers. The Fire Within, I actually don't really have that much to say other than how engrossed I was in the opening scene. I think I tweeted, I fucking love French cinema because, and I don't know, maybe I mentioned, specifically from the 50s and 60s, just because, sort of like The Lovers, but more so this opening scene of The Fire Within, it just, reminded me of when I was first getting into French cinema and the French New Wave in particular, and those are some of my favorite films, and it's my favorite, the French New Wave is my favorite film movement and film period. So it was kind of reminiscent of when I was first expanding my film knowledge and interest. Yeah, honestly, other than that, I don't really have much to say. I'll tell you what it's about, even though it's going to be really vague because it's the kind of story that just follows this one character. And so the main character, he's in a rehab facility of trying to get over his alcoholism or his addiction to alcohol, and although the people who are running the place and who are helping him through this process, they're telling him that he's okay to leave, he still remains there. And he's also going through other things, I'm pretty sure he's getting a divorce from his wife, or they're separated already, whether legally or just physically, I'm not exactly sure. Yeah, that's really the gist of it. Again, you're just following this character, and so I don't really have that much to say for The Fire Within. I still would recommend watching it. I just preferred The Lovers a lot more. And then the final film here is The Game from 1997. This is one of the David Fincher films that I have not seen previously, and so it was on Amazon Prime. It might still be on Prime. I don't know. I'll leave it in the description if it still is there, and whether it's there or not. And this was not disappointing. I was a little sketchy about it only because my brother had said that he watched it and he was disappointed with it. We both really like the films of David Fincher, and I was not disappointed. It was so engrossing that I forgot to write anything down for a good hour probably. So I did remember to write some things down after I realized that I hadn't been doing anything but just focusing on the film completely. So the first thing that I wrote is that it's so absorbing. The suspense is high throughout the entire film, especially if you already know a bit about the film, which I might as well talk about now since I'm on the subject. Hopefully this isn't confusing. The Game is about Michael Douglas's character. Every time I don't know character names, I'm just gonna laugh at myself because of how I should really write down character names. But I didn't write any down. So Michael Douglas's character, he is really successful and runs this company or something. I don't know. He's an important person of a company. He kind of keeps to himself. He has a lot of money. He doesn't get attached to anything. And then his brother gets in touch with him for his birthday, for Michael Douglas's character's birthday. And so his brother gives him this gift certificate for what is called CRS. Something recreational services, I'm pretty sure. And it's supposed to be a game. And it's very vague, you don't really understand what it is, but apparently his brother had a really good time with it. And so he gives this gift certificate to his brother. So eventually Michael Douglas's character goes to the CRS headquarters or one of their buildings and officially signs up and gets started with the process. That sounds kind of weird because it's supposed to be like a game and like this fun service. But he goes through a bunch of tests and they have to know like all about him pretty much. And he has to do like physical tests and medical tests and psychological tests, like that kind of stuff. And then the game officially starts and it's just a whirlwind. It's crazy. And that's all I'm gonna say in terms of the plot, because it's really best to not know, like, what's happening. There is this clown in this movie, though. It's like a clown puppet. It's creepy. It's fucking creepy. I don't like clowns for absolutely no reason. I have no reason for disliking clowns so much, but this is really creepy. And I think I started it at night. I ended up finishing it the next day. Same with The Fire Within, actually. I started it, like, right after The Lovers, and then I realized it was really late and I should go to bed. With the game, I was actually too tired, so I ended up stopping the movie and finishing it the next morning, but it was still, like, really suspenseful. It would have been creepier had I continued watching it at night, but, that clown scene was good enough for me during the nighttime. And then getting into a bit more, spoilery territory here, I wrote down that when, Catherine? I think the female character's name is Catherine. I'm gonna call her Catherine at least. She says at one point that it's a con. And I was so confused by that because I was just like, what's a con? What part of this is a con? What part of it is real? What part of it isn't? Like, so much was going on. And this was like an hour and a half into it. I'm pretty sure it's like around 2 hours. And I was just I was like, I don't know what's happening. And I was trying to figure it out though. Like, how much of this was real and how much of this was put on by CRS? Was it all fake? Is this really like, is he like losing all of his money and he's just like homeless and lost in what they like drop him off in Mexico or something like that? They drop him off. They drop him off in Mexico. They abandon him in Mexico and then he has to somehow make his way back home. Yeah. But he goes through so much shit that finally it gets to the end and like things are being revealed, and it really was like the entire thing was planned and made up. Everything was fake. All of it. Even the last, as we're getting towards the end, as we're getting towards this reveal, even that stuff was fake. And I was just like, oh my god. But I think it went a little too far with him like committing suicide. Like, obviously he didn't really, because they like planned for that, but like, you planned for him to like just throw himself off the building? Like, that got me a little upset. I feel like that could have been done differently, but especially if I was at that point where I was like, my life is fucking over. But then he like crashes and they're all clapping for him. They're all clapping and there's like fake glass everywhere and they're like, cover your eyes. And they're all like, close your eyes, don't open them or else you might get like the fake glass in it. Well, like it's like breakaway glass. And then they're all clapping for him and his brother is there with like the t-shirt that says something like, I was abandoned and in Mexico and I didn't have any money and all I got was the shirt or something like that. And I was like, oh my god, no. Even though I don't know how many people like are that important in his life and like who are at this party, I don't know how many people there he was really close with and cared about, because, you know, as I said before, he kind of secludes himself. I would be so pissed off. I would not talk to anyone ever again. I swear, like, I feel like I hold a grudge really easily. Oh, man, yeah. So I wrote in all capital letters, like, in handwriting bigger than the rest of all these notes, it says, ew, I would never speak to anyone ever again, ! So that's how I feel about the ending, but it was still, like, a really good movie, despite how angry I was with things that happened. And then I was still a little confused because I also wrote, but like, is CRS real or what? But then they kind of cleared that up with like the very last scene where he like asks Catherine out on a date and on like a real date. and then she's like, oh, we have a gig in another city. And then I'm like, okay, so they really do this. Like, this must take so much plan. I mean, no wonder it's expensive and he's like a millionaire, because millionaires are the only kind of people who would be able to afford it. Yeah, that's crazy. I would like to watch like supplements on the film, but I don't, obviously I said I watched it on Amazon Prime, so I don't know. I'm just gonna have to look stuff up on YouTube probably. Although, I mean, it's on Criterion, so I should probably get the Criterion release and then watch the supplements on there. So that's it. I'm not quite sure how to like wrap this up. I probably will make like another video kind of going like an overview of all the films, maybe ranking them or something. And I would like to do another video that's more sort of like a compilation video with clips from all the movies that I watched. That's what I'm thinking about. That's going to take a little bit longer because I'm trying to find clips from all the films. Unless there's like, if there's like a website that people go to, I'd love to know about it. So yeah, again, I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out how I'm wrapping this up here. If you've seen either The Game or The Fire Within, I'd love to know your thoughts on them. And what specifically, like probably The Game, because, no, both, because The Fire Within, I didn't get a lot out of, but maybe somebody else did. And with The Game, I just love David Fincher, and like now I'm sort of in the mood to like watch more of his films, even though I've seen, I think, all of them actually. I want to rewatch Gone Girl. I have to house sit and dog sit, and I think I might take Gone Girl. It's my brother's though, so I'm gonna have to tell him that I'm taking it. Anyway, yeah, I'd love to know what you think about these films. If any clarifications, any extra details, anything I forgot, I will put in the description. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!